Something very bad is going to happen, blends genres, and is full of paranoia. The curse that is tied to the Harkin bloodline represents generational trauma. And attempting to understand the unknown parallels the discovery of the mystery of the show in a meta way. The essence of the show is inherently feminine in its themes involving motherhood, marriage, and identity. It poses the question, can you trust yourself or your own feelings? In the course of the season, we learned that Nikki's mother, Victoria, has cancer and is plotting her own death. Rachel is studying behavioral psychology and is urging the family to find closure before it's too late. A scene with double meaning because Rachel never got to say goodbye to her own mother. The story evolves into something deeper about identity and merging souls in a ceremony, because a wedding is a ritual. It's also about processing grief and acknowledging death before it happens, and it also manages to make motherhood terrifying in terms of body horror. Episode 3 introduces a found footage style, first through the lens of Jude, and later as a flashback of Rachel's parents leading up to their wedding and the bloody aftermath. In episode 4, Rachel's mother is played by Victoria Pedretti, and we learn that her father is the Sorry Man, who was named after having to say sorry for ripping the baby Rachel out of her dead mother's carcass, all of which was witnessed by Nikki's brother Jules. It turns out that Rachel's own father kidnapped her in an effort to save her from what happened to her mother. And at the midpoint of the series, we learn what is actually happening. The Harkin bloodline is cursed by death to either marry their true soulmate or die. The alternate option is to not marry, become an immortal being, and in turn, the other family is cursed. And anyone not married to their soulmate will die. And this pressurizes the sanctity of marriage. And it turns out that the creepy man from that bathroom scene is the immortal witness, even from her mother's wedding. And he offers a simple warning. Are you sure he's the one? The immortal witness was a coward and left his fiancée at the altar. And it was her bloodline, the Harkin bloodline, that was cursed for generation after generation. And that ever-present uneasy feeling of being watched or followed is literally death lurking. It's the source of her paranoia. The story morphs into supernatural territory, but also addresses those other possibilities by answering them. This show is very honest, where characters are forced to speak their truth in the most uncomfortable situations, in a way that edges on cathartic. Patterns are repeated, and so is the feeling of deja vu. And in the height of the moment when Rachel is asked if she believes in this curse, she says, I do, which also has a double meaning. In episode 5, we learn that the meet cute turns out to be a lie, and Rachel begins to question Nikki as her soulmate. She discovers that Nikki had just gotten out of a relationship and missed her brother's wedding, and Jules takes it upon himself to make sure that she is informed in her decision and knows the truth. He feels a duty that's been put upon him by Rachel's mother as her last dying wish. In episode 6, Rachel enlists the help of Nellie to track down some of her family members. She's hunting for a success story or a loophole, and her bachelorette party becomes an inversion of a haunted slumber party, where they use a Ouija board to summon Arlene in an effort to figure out the secret to a lasting marriage. Rachel is desperate to figure out how to survive her wedding day, and to his dismay, Nicky learns once his father reveals that his mother actually cheated, and his mom faints. Rachel and Nell, who reveals that she has an impending divorce, start kissing on Rachel's last night of freedom. Episode 7 opens on Rachel stepping on a penny, which is the opposite of her behavior at the beginning of the season. And we later learned that Nicky put it there as a romantic gesture. But instead it becomes an example of how he tries to fabricate the perfect romantic scenario. And the episode is shot like a frantic, continuous oneer. Rachel devises a plan that twists the tradition. She needs something living from the groom, his seed, something dead from the bride, one of her bones, something stolen from the mother-in-law, which is a piece of hair, and something red, blood. Using a spell from Portia's book, her intent is to perform a ritual to become Nicky's soulmate, showcasing how she is willing to change herself, even lobotomize herself, for him. And it becomes more clear that Nicky is actually the villain. He took claim of Nellie, which is actually his ex-girlfriend, even when his brother loved her first. And in the end, we learn that Jules and Nellie are actually soulmates, which is why they survive. Episode 8 opens on Rachel walking down the aisle for her wedding, but the image is flipped. It's a metaphor. In Rachel's vows, it's repeated 2 times that the only certainty in life is death. And after all that scrambling, she opts not to drink the elixir. She says that Nicky is her good luck charm, and she takes that leap of faith. But it's in those final moments where Nicky decides not to participate in the institution of marriage because it's all been shattered by learning his parents' infidelity. And through the point of view of death, we linger. While the foundation of Rachel's confidence is rooted in her love for Nicky, and this idea that he sees and understands her is completely upended because he doesn't actually believe in the curse. He only believes in the curse of the failed systems that raised them. And this all echoes the lie which sold her on falling for him in the first place. She thought when they first met that the plane was going to crash and that he believed her then. But even from the beginning, he's never believed her. The ceremony is interrupted and they start arguing. Rachel says that he created a version of her, and it's Nicky's mom who ends up convincing him to finish the ceremony. But at that point, Rachel believes that she deserves a second chance. She no longer wants to marry him, and the entire wedding party starts to bleed. In a last-ditch effort, Jules helps organize the completion of the ceremony, mainly because he's motivated to save his own son. Portia is bleeding and about to die, and the matriarch is now dead. And since Rachel said her vows earlier, the immortal witness signs the papers, where Nicky actively condemns her in order to save the rest of his bloodline. He now says that he believes that they're soulmates, but it's Rachel who no longer believes it. Rachel then starts bleeding from her nose and walks off by herself, and she goes into the glass atrium like a caged bird. When Nicky finds her later, he rages against the glass but does not go to her. Death finally comes for the immortal witness, and as he takes his last breath, Rachel's is restored. Rachel becomes the new immortal witness. This is also hinted when she warns young Jude to be very careful about who he chooses to marry. Her white dress is now stained red and she's looking for her lighter. Wanting to smoke in a bloody wedding dress is becoming a new final girl horror trope. But that's what I love about this show, is that everything means something. The moment that Rachel finds Nicky in the fetal position, childlike, holding the forever teddy bear, she asks where her lighter is. And it's also a symbol of this fabricated spark. He doesn't reply because he doesn't have it, nor can he provide the fire that she needs for herself. Towards the end of the episode, she finds a lighter in the glove compartment of the just married truck that was prepped for them. And it strikes a moment of reflection. There's this knowing that Nicky likely put it there, anticipating that she'd want or need one. And as she looks in the rearview mirror, it's only in hindsight that she realizes that there was a love between them, but they couldn't take the leap together at the same time when it mattered most. The three-legged fox that Nicky was trying to hunt reveals itself as Rachel is driving away, symbolic as both could not be trapped by him. In the last moments of the series, it shows her back at the wheel. She rips off the ring, throws it out the window, and she has the last laugh because she cheated death. Although her old self technically died and no longer exists, she's actually free. Rachel accomplished what she set out to do, which was end the curse to her own Harkin bloodline. Something very bad is going to happen is horror made for women by women, and it is through death that we are reborn.